if what we don't have is the lyrical element to it, right? So when we're writing anything, right, we have two options: repeat the exact same thing or change it. Okay, why we can use exact repetition, you know, when we're writing, say, the verse to a song, or like a song's hook, is the lyrics can change, and that is really what also gets stuck into our head, the phonetics, but also the lyrics, because we're sort of picturing them as they're moving. So that means if we do try to stay too repetitious on an instrument, it's going to get a little bit boring a little bit quicker than if we're melodically repetitious, but we're changing the words, but still sticking. I mean, notice, like, some of the things that really help, and one of the things that always helped me is I like that you're using, like, speaking rhythm, and then also the inflection of how your voice is moving up and down as a way of translating it to, like, the guitar solo. Another really great thing to think about too is when we're speaking, we're generally in a pretty small window, right? Which means
Right.
we're going to want to move that window here, even though our voice isn't going to go here, right? We're going to move it here now, because in a casual conversation we're just doing this, right? So we're sort of like, if that's our role. Now, if I stick too much in there because we don't have words to refresh each one of those melodies, we're going to have to start moving that away from where that'll start getting tired. And then right now we're up a little bit higher. It's not jarring. A really great way to think about it too, when we're talking about those emphasis, is staying close and watching how we're moving up and down, but only a note behind in the scale, a note ahead in the scale. If we break that tendency too, that's going to sort of highlight that note. So if you did have something like, right, that last note is just going to stick out a little bit more because melodically, yeah, because we're jumping a little bit further. And this is one of the ways that a music teacher explained this to me, and I'll never forget him saying this, was when you're building a melody, writing a melody, or improvising in this case, writing a melody, improvisation is just composition on the fly. It all comes from the same area of the thought process. So when you're sort of moving, like, up and down slightly, that's what's going to make your melody sing alongable, even in a guitar solo, right? But it's the bigger jumps that happen every now and then that are going to make them a little bit more memorable. So if you're only going just like slightly up and down in this small movement, that's going to make them sing alongable, which is what you want. You know what I mean? But then having at least a little bit of those jumps and rhythmic breaks is what's going to make it really memorable, right? Because if it's too sing-alongable, I don't want to say this is going to break like every songwriting class that I've ever taken. It will not stick out as much. It will, because that's what everybody's going for. You want that sort of, like, if I just did, right, and I just stay there, I'm starting, okay, I'm going to need a change. But if I just do similarly, and I do that last little note, because it breaks away from that moving higher, it breaks down lower from what the lower note barrier was, which in this case was a B, and then getting all the way down to that F sharp, swoops, that's the only note that'll come. That repeating melody could happen a little bit more without it getting too tired, just because it has that one little element that's giving us a little bit of surprise. You know what? One of the best things, and this is lyrically amazing, but I have friends in low places, right? Every time he hits that low places, wherever the key is, right? He sings the word low really low, which is like fantastic prosody. But if it was all sort of kept within the same melodic pattern, that low, we would start getting a little bit tired of it earlier. So the whole hook is sing alongable, and then it just gives us this one nice, with prosody, because the word low is low, surprise that lets us memorable without getting tired, because we've got that something to just refresh us a little bit there.
Well, so